order common council meeting for July 31st, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Lamanto.
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Shikawa.
Councilwoman Shukawa is excused from this evening's meeting.
Councilmember at-large Wilson.
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Certification of the prior meeting.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, July 18, 2017 was presented to the mayor on Tuesday, July 25, 2017. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and the seal of the city of Dunkirk, New York, this 31st day of July, 2017.
Motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes. First by Councilman Gonzalez, second by Councilman Williams. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Wilson.
Aye. Reading of the privilege of the floor regulations.
The privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case the individual shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing a group who shall be limited to 5 minutes. When recognized, please stand, state your name and address. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining such time limits, and the councilman at large may determine in his discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. Councilman at large shall maintain good order and may require any speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or are slanderous or non-germane to any action taken or contemplated by council. The time limit specified above shall be strictly adhered to, except that a speaker may be allowed to complete a statement or thought started before such time has expired.
The privilege of the floor is now open. If anybody wishes to speak, please step forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Janet Delgado. I live at 65 Lakeshore Drive, East Dunkirk, New York. I just wanted to notify you guys that yesterday I did hold my first community outreach event for my group, Community Works. It took us, we only had 14 days of planning due to members not understanding the time frame it takes to successfully do something like that, but we ran with it, and it turned out well. I actually met a grant writer who hadn't eaten in 3 days, but came out just because she thought it would be something that she liked, and I've agreed to meet up with her at her own house and stuff like that, because she does take care of handicapped children. It was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people in the area, some people that live in assisted living facilities who have trouble making ends meet towards the end of the month, families in the area that just, when the soup kitchen is not available during the week, they have a hard time eating over the weekends. So we plan on making future events like that over a weekend so that the people that really need people like us in the area to help out and give a little extra helping hand, that we can access them. So I just want to say that for 14 days view, we managed to get enough donations to actually have leftovers. So I mean, we did what we did, we canvassed, and I'm very proud of my team. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Advertising on Facebook as well. So
Yeah, I also put it in the paper.
Word gets out, it'll get bigger and better.
Yep,
Very good job.
thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Mike Ciboletto of 138 Rebel Street. I'll be speaking on behalf of the Community Advisory Committee, which I'm the chairman. One of the things we've talked about is parking meters in the city, and if they're being used correctly, if they're being used at all. I actually did a FOIL, Freedom of Information Act, to find out exactly how much money we make on parking meters, and I'm not sure if anyone is actually familiar with how much we make. In 2016, we made $6,298. If you split that up in 52 weeks, we made $121 a week. Our concern is that a lot of the parking meters do not work. All of the parking meters are no longer made. It's, from what I understand, you can't get parts for these parking meters anymore, so you're stealing from parking meters to fix other parking meters. I've counted, and there's about 140 parking meters. There's randomness of parking meters, which makes it unfair. Like there's one parking meter on Main Street. It's in front of Dr. Irene Strahalski's office. Why? I don't know. There probably used to be a whole bunch of parking meters up and down Main Street when there were businesses there, but there's not anymore. They work in front of some people's businesses and not in front of other people's businesses, and that's not fair. If we're going to have parking meters, I think it should, and then the council and the committee thinks that they should be either all working or taken down. Especially since we're only making $121 a week. That doesn't count for the manpower to collect the money, to count the change, to write tickets for people who are in violation, to go to court to try disputed tickets, to maintain the meters, which I believe hasn't been happening in the last couple of years. So it's just something that the council should think about in the future of how that's actually helping or hurting businesses and people who are trying to park in the area here. The second thing I want to ask about is the dog park, and from what I understand, it is a matter of the city attorney getting some paperwork together. And I understand that you've only been here for a couple of weeks, but a lot of the citizens have been asking me about how the dog park's going because I've been a big advocate of it. Since our Point Gratiot and Wright Park stuff is on a hold because of just governmental things, it's been held up till not start until the fall. The faster we can get the dog park going, since we have the funds, we're ready to go, and the faster we can get that going, the better it would be. So it looks like we're doing something in the Parks Department this year, and I just wanted to urge you to maybe take a look at that as soon as you can. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to take advantage of the privilege of the floor, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Last opportunity. Anybody else wishing to take privilege of the floor, please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, privilege of the floor is now closed. Number 5, communications from the mayor, including disapproval.
Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to respond to Mr. Civiletto's comments. Let me start by thanking you, Mr. Civiletto. The bottom line with the parking meters is I'm not sure that these numbers that you provided here today are correct, but I'm definitely going to look into that. We have been working with the New York State Restructuring Board, and this is an issue that our Chief of Police brought up, and I certainly agree with him, and I agree with you. We are going to be working on new parking meters throughout the city. So it's not an issue that we've overlooked in any way, at least not this administration. As far as parking meters working in some areas and some not in others, that's not an issue that we can control at this point. So as far as fairness goes, I take offense to anyone thinking that we are trying to be unfair as to where we place our parking meters. The other thing is with the dog park, one of the things I came to realize when I came into office is that government, there's a lot of processes that are in place that need to happen before we take major steps. And the dog park in our community is definitely a major step. So we're following the process, and we're going to do it the right way. And it does take a little time, and people have to be understanding of that fact. Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of updates here. Number one is we did make contact. I wanted council to know we have made contact with Dunkirk, France, and a representative of their media has actually reached out to us to do another story out in Dunkirk, France. So we are working on that. Our special events coordinator is actually making that contact to happen. I would also like to announce publicly here that our DPW director, Bob Bankowski, who is also a county legislator, has presented me with his resignation, which I am regretfully accepting. And I would like to hear comments from the DPW director. Before I do, I just want everyone to know that there is a plan in place. The director has agreed to stay on to help with the transition. And I've also reached out to our city engineer, who has agreed to serve as the interim DPW director or acting DPW director if and when the time comes, until such time as we have a more permanent decision in place. I would like to hear from comments from our DPW director.
I just want to thank the common council, especially the mayor, for affording me the opportunity to perform this job. By no means was it a easy job. When I first, he asked me about doing it, and we agreed on a certain amount of hours per week. That never was a reality. I worked 40 hours a week, if not more, every week except for 2 weeks, and that's because I was with my wife in Florida for 4 days. So other than that, I've been logging at least 40 hours, if not more. And we talked, and if I was going to continue to do that type of work, we thought I should have stayed working as a correction officer for the Department of Corrections. I would be making a whole lot more money than I am now. But it's been a pleasure. It was great working with the mayor and with all of you as department heads. But like I said, just became to be too much. I have a couple of small businesses that I operate, and I'm just getting pulled in too many directions, and something had to give. So I agreed with the mayor that I would stay on until we found the right person to take over. But that didn't mean I wanted to stay on until Christmas either. But it's been nothing but a pleasure to work with the mayor and the council. I thought we had a great team, and I think my work over the last 11 months has pretty much spoke for itself on the positive change that we wanted to give to the city, and working with members of 912, 2693, very few bumps in the road. And it was, I thought we gelled and agreed to agree, and we agreed to disagree at times, but we got the job done. So just want to thank the mayor again for affording me the opportunity. And like I said, I'll be staying on for a week or two more until we find that replacement, because didn't want to leave it in lurch. Just want to bring the new person in, be able to spend some time with him or her, whoever it may be, to introduce them, take them around, show them the intricacies of what goes on in the Department of Public Works for the city of Dunkirk. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Mr. Chair, I just also wanted to publicly thank Mr. Bankowski for a job well done. In my opinion, has done an outstanding job. I have no regrets bringing him on board, and hate to see him leave. I also have a couple updates I would like our Planning and Development Director, Rebecca Yanis, to speak on.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Today we met with some architects that are going to be doing some designs for enclosures of the Whispering Giant. Gina Crone has been spearheading this effort, and today we met all together at the Whispering Giant to talk about what our vision would be for it, and to get a physical enclosure that would protect it from the harsh environment during the winter time. So we are moving forward. She hired them on. They will produce stamped architecture documents for us and get cost estimates so that we are prepared to go out to bid for construction on this as well. So we're working towards getting that together, and happy to see that coming together. I know she's been working hard on it for a long time, so we will be moving forward with that. Also yesterday, the mayor and myself were invited to attend a dinner in Buffalo held by Athenix, and it was really a celebration for their IPO in the stock market that recently happened about a month and a half ago. And in addition to this celebration for their IPO, they also were celebrating the fact that this manufacturing company is coming to Dunkirk, and I'm here to tell you that it's happening, and it's going to be happening shortly. The groundbreaking will be scheduled very soon, and they're very happy and excited to be coming to Dunkirk. This company is a really special company, and being there last night at the dinner made us recognize that how lucky we are to have this manufacturing company come. It's going to be producing cancer-preventing drugs that will save lives, and we're so lucky to be having this type of company located right outside the city line, because it's going to be a big impact to our city as well, a lot of changes. So I just wanted to let everyone know about that. Thank you.
And just one more update from our special events coordinator, Hector Rosas.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Before moving into the events, just wanted to share with you that on the websites there are pictures of the new CEO there for Athenix, Johnson Lau, and our Director of Planning and Development, and the Mayor during their meeting yesterday in Buffalo. So you're welcome to check out the websites on Facebook and the city website, DunkirkToday.com. With regards to the events, this weekend we'll have our Beach Bash. We're bringing in world-renowned stand sculptor, Dan Belcher. If you go on his website, you'll see some of his marvelous work. We're really lucky and fortunate to have him participate in this weekend's events. Because of the lack of the beach that we normally have at Wright Park, we'll be utilizing the new beach, which was done by our DPW director, Bob Bankuski, down here on Main Street end. He'll do some sand sculpting there, and then he'll move over to Wright Park and do some sand sculpting at the Wright Park beach that they've cleaned up there. So we look to have you all participate, and we have a marvelous lineup for you. Fantastic. The Rising Party Squad on one day, and then on Sunday, I believe there's Derek Davis Band and the 80s hair band. So we have for the kids water slide and some bounce houses, and we're looking for the possibility of another dunk tank to raise some funds for the Little League and some other non-for-profit organizations. So come on out this weekend and support your local events. One more thing before I leave, I wanted to thank Bob. It's been a pleasure to work with you. You've been a firm leader and somebody that we needed in that position, and I hope whoever the mayor chooses to replace you can have your traits. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Mayor.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor. Number 6, communications from the public and petitions.
Request from Variety, the children's charity, for 4 to 6 police personnel on Saturday, September 9, 2017, at the fairgrounds from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. and the Dunkirk Fire Department to be on standby should there be any firematic emergency.
Any discussion? I need a motion to refer this to your appropriate departments as well as approved, subject to appropriate insurances and reasonable conditions. Councilman Delanto with the first, Councilman Williams with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Delanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember At-Large.
Aye.
Request from Amy Shuk to have a bounce house at the lower pavilion at Point Gratiot on Friday, August 4th, 2017 for a graduation party.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approved, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Lamonto with the first, Councilman Williams with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye.
Request from the Dunkirk Senior High School to have 3 police officers present at the homecoming dance on Saturday, October 7, 2017, from 7:45 p.m. until 11:15 p.m., as well as provide a breathalyzer test.
Need a motion to refer this to the Dunkirk Police Department and their union.
So moved.
First by Councilman Gonzalez, second by Councilman Lamonto. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye.
Request from the First Ward Falcon Club to close South Serval Street between Lakeshore Drive and Chestnut Street on Friday, September 1st, 2017 through Sunday, September 3rd, 2017 from 5 p.m. until midnight for their annual Labor Day street dance, also requesting use of garbage cans for the parking lot.
Any discussion? I need a motion to refer this to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Gonzalez with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye.
Request from Steve Christofiak to have a bounce house at the Lower Pavilion at Point Gratiot on Saturday, August 19, 2017.
Any discussion? Need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Lamonto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye.
Request from Jose Rodriguez to use Promenchaco Stadium and Cook Field for the Missing You Always 4th Annual Memorial Co-Ed Softball Tournament on Saturday, August 26, 2017 from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion to refer this to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Lamonto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye. We have 2 loudspeaker applications today. I asked the clerk to read them separately, but we'll be voting on them together as one.
The Dunkirk High School Student Council to permit the DJ to use speakers in front of parking lot for homecoming on Friday, October 6, 2017 from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. B, the First Ward Falcons Club for use of band speakers on September 1st, 2017 through September 3rd, 2017 from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. at 341-342 Lakeshore Drive East for their annual Labor Day dance.
Any discussion, council? Seeing none, I need a motion to refer this to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Gonzalez with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamonto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bush.
Aye. Reports of standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilman Williams, the floor is yours.
As we talked in the workshop, Chief Ortolano, if there's some way, I mentioned that I witnessed a almost accident between one of those electric scooters for the handicapped and an automobile at Main and 2nd, and then just was wondering if there was any way that you could get something that's ADA approved to be able to get out there to the public to make sure that there's a little bit more safety out there.
Yes, we talked in the workshop, we approached this a couple of years ago, and I did have something that I spoke with the council at ADA on about safety precaution. I will reach out to them again and make sure that everything is still okay, and if so, I will put a safety price myself.
All right, thank you very much. Also, I was wondering, I don't even know where this one will go to, just where are we at with the Rose Floramo plan? Were we supposed to be submitting something?
We talked about it at the Economic Development meeting, but and Rebecca will expand on that when,
Okay.
in a
Yeah,
little
so
bit.
with the residential housing survey, we hired the consultants to start working on that, and And basically, they're compiling data right now. We're going to be putting together a survey task force team that's going to go out and learn how to assess and survey our housing areas. And one of their big components is also part of the Floramo plan, and developing a law that fits our city, that will work for us, and that works with what we need to actually take care of this issue. So we're going to first do the surveying and gather the data and let them get a better understanding of our community, and then they're going to make their recommendations and tweak that Floramo plan accordingly. So right now we're meeting with them Friday, and by the end of August we'll have that task survey force together to go out and do the residential surveys, and we'll be putting out a press release if you're interested in taking part in being someone that does the surveying. We'll be putting that out shortly as well. So after those steps are complete, then we'll start assessing the law once we gather all our data.
Okay. Thank you. My last question, and now after the mayor had mentioned that Director Bankowski may be leaving soon. A few months ago, we had somebody come in, I believe that it was one of our firefighters came in that lived down on the west end of Route 5 asking about the railroad tracks that are leading to NRG. There's a lot more people that have been calling, asking. Is there anything more that we can do? I don't know if it's just the director, if legal can get involved or whatever with it.
I reached out to the area rep. His name is Ben Thorwer. Had about 3 conversations with him. He came and looked at the site. He understands what we were talking about. He wants to remove the rails going into the plant. He knows that that's an issue. He brought it up to his superiors, whatever. They granted the approval, but there's road closure permits that need to be filed with the state. And I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks, but he told me that he was waiting on the state to give him the road closure permits, because we probably have to shut down. He's anticipating shutting down Route 5 for 3 to 4 days, to pull all that out and then, obviously pave it over and everything as such. But I did had a conversation with Kevin Muldowney, who's the legislator at that end of town, and obviously we all know he works with Kathy Young, so he was reaching out to her to see if she could speed up the process at all, so we could try to get this taken care of. But it is bad. I'm not justifying anything, but those are things that are out of our control. We do have some safety cones on there. It does cause people to slow down. A lot of people would just fly through over those railroad tracks, but they do need to be addressed.
Just so I understand, because I'm new to this issue, are these from the old coal cars that used to go into energy?
Yes.
So removing the rails won't affect it repowering up under natural gas?
It shouldn't.
Correct.
Because they're going to just be piping it in,
Correct.
Okay.
And it's all loose in there, and so
It's a mess.
the wooden pieces and everything.
All
bounce
the
around when you go
timbers
over it.
have deteriorated in there. They
Yeah.
hold the rails in place. So when you go over the railroad, the rails itself, it's the timbers that are popping up and down and sliding back and forth. That makes a loud noise.
There's just a lot of people that live on that end, and they wanted it to be brought up again so that we don't forget.
I will reach out to Mr. Thorburn again tomorrow.
Okay, thank
and
you.
I'll report back to you, and then that'll be the answer.
All right, thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Councilman Demonto?
I just have one thing. I would like to encourage the whole community to get down, support the beach bash this weekend. Get in line so you can dunk the mayor in the dunk tent. Possibly the attorney's going to be there. Just a rumor I heard. I don't know. Come on down and join it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lyle. Councilman Gonzalez?
We had the economic development meeting just prior to our preview meeting today, and it was a lot of good information that came from our director, Rebecca, in regards to the hotel, the villas at the Battery Point, and the dog park, Wright Park, and Point Grass, everything is moving as expected. And according, and she'll speak to that in a few minutes. The hotel is scheduled to, providing that all the contracts are signed and everything, probably this spring that we can have the hotel get started. Battery Point, they're doing surveys and so on in regards to that, and pretty soon, according to her, they're anxious to get going. So that's another plus for the city. And I'll let her speak in regards to that, and also to the dog park. Like I said, they're waiting for the fencing to get put up and also other things to be done there. So Rebecca, go ahead.
Sure. In regards to the dog park, we are finishing up that lease agreement. As soon as we have that finalized, we have 3 quotes for different fencing areas. So we're going to be selecting someone to do the fencing, and we'll work with Parks and DPW to clear the land and get it going. So we're going to try to move as quickly as possible to get that started. In regards to Wright Park and Point Gratiot Park, really, we're in our final design phases for both of those. For Point, we're a little further ahead. That one should be going out to bid mid-August with construction starting in after Labor Day. And hopefully we'll get that completed by the end of fall. So that one's moving along quickly. And as for Wright Park, they're in their design phase as well, hoping to get the bid out for that towards the end of August, beginning of September. And construction will start in the fall, be finished up in the spring, and ready to go for summer of 2018. So that's where we sit with all of those projects.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yep.
Also, regards, Mr. Civiletta, in regards to the parking meters, we discussed that quite a few years back. And one of the reasons that a lot of the parking our meters are missing is because they broke, and as you mentioned yourself, there's no replacement parts for those. We're considering a while back to purchasing new ones, but we're waiting for funding for that. And the reason there's only one on Main Street is because when the other ones broke, there was nothing to put back. But as the mayor said, we're going to address that as soon as funds come available for that. But we did address it a couple times before. I also like to thank Bob for his work and everything he did for DPW, though we didn't agree in a few things. It's okay. But you've done a great job, and as you can tell, everybody appreciates your work, and thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Gonzalez. I just have 2 things. Bob, as we talked about during the workshop, I got into a social media conversation with a friend of mine about a complaint about a tree being cut down at the Lucas Avenue playground, and was wondering if you could just explain why that particular tree at the Lucas Avenue playground was cut down.
Myself and Engineer Woodbury, we've been in conversations with Mr. Abbey, who is the building and grounds superintendent for the Dunkirk school system. He had reached out to us, and we had a meeting with him regarding the kids walking in the street on Woodrow Avenue, because the sidewalk only goes down as far as the soccer field. And then the rest of the way down, there is no sidewalk. So in conjunction with them, we're going to put in 250 feet of new sidewalk from the end of the existing sidewalk, which will take it all the way to Lucas Avenue to the corner, so all the kids are walking on the sidewalk and not in the street. The 2 trees that were taken down were actually in line to where the sidewalk is going. So that's why the trees were taken down. It wasn't, I heard a couple comments about shade at the playground and stuff like that, but Mr. Abbey told us that once the sidewalk is in, they are going to put some fencing around it and some more new trees, which will be, around the playground, but it'll be a couple years before they can grant such large shade as the couple trees that were taken down. And that goes the same on Lucas Avenue. There was about 6 trees also over there that were cutting down, that we cut those down. They were just rotting. Branches were always falling, and they're going to be, once they get that sidewalk done, they're going to put new trees along Lucas Avenue also.
Great. Thank you for the detailed explanation. Hopefully somebody here. My other one was answered. So number 8, unfinished business. We have none. Number 9, pre-filed resolution.
69, resolution accepting grant for Summer Better Than Other Camp, Chautauqua County.
Any discussion, council? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Woods.
Aye. We do have two walk-in resolutions this evening as well, number 70 and 71. Clerk?
70, authorized appointment of CDBG Program Administrator Matthew Burke.
Rebecca, would you like to discuss why this came upon us today?
Sure. Unfortunately, Christina Lincoln, her contract had expired and she did not renew this contract. She did go somewhere else for a little more funding, a little more money. But we were familiar with this a couple weeks ago, and we had reached out and have a really capable candidate with a master's in urban planning and a lot of administrative work and background. So I'm happy to bring him on board, and if the resolution passes tonight. And he should be able to do a great job and take over what Christina did already, which she did an amazing job to get us in a great position. So,
Thank you. Yeah, it is a sore loss to lose Christina. She did do an excellent job, but I also want the public to be aware that this is not the creation of a new position. We're not filling a new position. This is just replacing someone that has resigned. Any further discussion, council? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Woods.
Aye. Number 71.
71, authorizing Employee Assistance Program Contract Family Services of the Chautauqua Region Incorporated.
Any discussion about resolution number 71, council? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Woods.
Aye. Seeing no further business before us, need a motion to adjourn. Councilman Gonzalez with the first. Councilman, yes, Mayor.
I just handed you some contract demands from the Senior Citizen Center. I have looked it over, and I have no disagreement with any of that, any of the requests there. Some of the items listed are things that we should be already providing. Some of them are repairs that should be done, and some of them are upgrades that we should be upgrading. So I just wanted to provide you with a copy of it, just so you're aware of this agreement, that there's a renewal for this agreement, and these are demands that, again, I've looked over and have no problem with.
Okay, no action is to be taken on this at the meeting.
No, just wanted to hand it to you. Do you have any questions on these at all?
That we did receive it.
Yeah.
No.
Councilman Williams?
No questions. I talked to them over there also, so I'm quite aware of this. Good job of putting it together.
Councilman Bamanto?
Sounds great.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to adjourn again.
So moved.
Councilman
Second.
Gonzalez with the first, Councilman Williams with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Woods.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.